Well, good morning and welcome to Allergic to Stupidity. Hope everybody's having a good day and welcome to Thursday's business. I do have a Canadian business to show you for those of you who are tea drinkers and not coffee drinkers. However, I just got a couple of bits to go first that I just want to scream about. My 20-year-old, everybody complains that the new generation, the young generation, doesn't want to work. Well, here's a kid who loves to cook and was in a restaurant in the back, working in the kitchen, and he loved his job. He was always something changing, was always doing something, which is a lot of us need. There's not always that perpetual factory line kind of stuff. And he really enjoyed it, but he wasn't getting the consistent hours. So sometimes this week it would be 10 hours, sometimes it'd be 15. It was flip-flopping, and he was trying to do school at the same time and all the rest of it. So he went job hunting, and he found another job. So he quit job A for job B, but job B fell through. And then the restaurant he found the job at closed. So completely out of the picture, 100%. So then he sat down and said, okay, crap happens. He went job hunting. It took him 7 months to find a job at a local grocery store. 7 months. And yet they say, well, nobody will take the jobs. But he would be on there every single day, on every job site he could find, looking for work and applying to everything that he felt he was qualified for, which is basically nothing because he's still finishing his high school. So he gets this job. He's ecstatic. It's just stock boy. He's okay with that. Got to deal with the retail, a little individual retailers a bit, but not a whole lot. That's fine. Well, the kid's getting minimum wage, which in Ontario is $15.50 an hour. He has to pay his union dues. Okay, he gets unions. He doesn't have a big thingy. But here's the pet peeve. First of all, he's now to the point he hates the job. He just hates the job. But he gets benefits. Benefits consist of $100 a year for his dental, which means because he's getting benefits through his employer, he can't qualify for the National Dental Program. $100 for dental does absolutely nothing. And some people go, well, $100 is better than nothing. It might as well be nothing because as somebody who is self-employed, I know I don't have an insurance policy. I got to go to the dentist. It's going to come out of my pocket. Going into the dentist is definitely much more than $100 just to go in and see the dentist. And I'm not knocking the dentist. They have their expenses. They've got the overcost, the building, the equipment, pay their employees. Like, I get why. But that $100 is not worth it to have it. So I've got a kid here. Well, I want to call him a kid. He's 20. He's an adult. He's almost 21, who literally is in a situation that he's not giving up the job because he likes to be able to buy things for his little pussycats and having his own money and not having to ask his dad or ask me, his grandma. So there's that pride. But he despises the job and can't find another one. And then you wonder why people are grumbling, well, they just don't want to work. Well, you try doing the jobs the youths are having to get. You know, they're in college, they're in uni, and this is that part-time job or that whatever that to help stretch the buck and make it pay. Like, this is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Excuse me, I have a cat at the door. My tenant calls her Little Miss Diva. That is the understatement of the century. She's going to come in, she's going to walk around my feet, and then she's going to leave. But how dare I shut the door on her? So it's just back to that. I really, for those of us that are semi-comfortable financially, okay, there we go. See, she's my little diva. She's going to sit on my lap for, I don't know, 5 minutes, and then she'll walk away because she's Little Miss Diva. So it's just, I want people to be empathetic to these people who are caught in that situation, whether they're a 20-year-old or somebody who's been in the 50s, or 60s or 70s or whatever age, they've been laid off because the companies are downsizing because of the world right now. And they can't find a job that's going to pay make ends meet. And the benefits, well, yeah, it's nice to have benefits. It's paying next to nothing. It's not worth it. And then there's a lady, she's in California, so one of the richest states in the U.S. I mean, it's the economic powerhouse for the U.S. So Donald Trump, you should be kiss-assing up to that governor, not yelling and screaming at him. And there's people out there who are choosing to live in their cars. They have jobs. They're choosing to live in their cars because apartment buildings are asking a ridiculous amount for apartment, one bedroom, $3,000 to $4,000 a month. And one lady said, I could afford to pay that, but I couldn't afford to put furniture in it. I couldn't afford to do anything but live in that room and eat, and that would be it. And she said, the topper is these apartments are empty, but they won't bring the price down to a reasonable amount. She said, so she just took her camera and she showed all these people living in campers and their cars parked alongside these apartment buildings because the people who own the apartment buildings are not willing to drop the cost. Why? Because more than likely they can write it off as a loss against their financials. And it's like, you guys have got to be kidding. So I trust me, guys, I really do have a thing. But the next one I wanted to show today was the Dow. Now I'm just picking the Dow. You can pick any of these markets if you want. That's your choice. I just want to make sure I can see that. Okay, so if we look at the Dow right now, this is, I've got it set for, I think I set it for 5 days there, right? And we could see where all of the crap and schmuck started there and the dive bomb and it trying to build itself up. And that's a normal, I think that was Monday, Tuesday, where it started to climb back up. And then it started to drop again because he started to throw tariffs on. And now it jumped back up because he said, he honestly did say he was going to put a pause on any more reciprocal tariffs. So he's not going to spew any more out, but he just threw another one out at China yesterday. It's supposed to be effective immediately. So there's 125% against China products. But people are going, this is ridiculous. And it's dropping. This is today. This is Wednesday. It's dropping. Come back down. That's today. And it's coming back down. Because he could sit there and say this, but everybody in the world knows it's not. It's his, like, his enjoyment of chaos, his enjoyment of having everything be upside down and backwards. And everything is crazy. And now the bond market is starting to crash. And that's a major problem. Now, I don't completely understand the bond market. I'd have to talk to my brother, who used to be a stockbroker. But it basically, from what I understand, it's like if you think Canadian savings bonds, I pay $100 out and buy my Canadian savings bond, and it matures, and I get some interest on it. I can cash it in at any time I want, and the government has to pay me back. Well, people are selling off their bonds. Well, that means the government's having to pay it. And then bonds, if I understand it correctly, show stability in and strength in that government's economy. So great. So anyways, that really is what I wanted to, for when it comes to that. So let's look at today's business. You're Oofy Muffy. I know. Say hello. Say hello. This is Corby, for those who haven't met Corby yet. Corby has a brother, Wolf, who's a little more laid back. But she likes to be the center of everybody's attention. She's just like Corby. Okay, so this is David's Teas. I honestly thought this was an American company, but my son, who keeps trying to help me find businesses to do on Thursday's business. She also happens to like my coffee. Said, Mom, try this one. So here we go. Proudly Canadian, free shipping over. So let's shop now. Okay. There we go. This tea gives back. Now, what this is, sought, is that they support First Nations women. So you can see that these things like maple, Nordic mug, very, very Indigenous mentality or drawings or artwork, etc. So you can see. Okay, so here we go. Collections, tea types. So you get to pick and choose which ones you want. Everybody in my house is going to be black. She really does like to drink my coffee. Earl Grey, vanilla cappuccino, Santa's secret tea. Okay. Comes in little packages. You can get it organic for those people that want the organic. Okay. Is a little more expensive than Earl Red Rose. Yeah. But you're supporting a Canadian company and you know what you're getting. Teaware, travel mugs, teacups, teapots. I don't know why we have to always have apparel with things. It's tea. I want apparel to go to a clothing shop. Okay. So one of my son's old girlfriends had one of these where you would just put the loose tea in there and then put it in a teapot, add the hot water, and it would steep. Now, my line has always been that you need to buy the best quality you can afford, and then take care of it. So yes, this would be a teapot, and I would take care of it. Little things on digestive, which things would help with that. Coffee replacement. There in some teas, there's just as much caffeine as there in tea as there is in coffee. So don't let that trick you. Flavors. There we go. Featured teas, new arrivals, any sales they've got. Anyways, there it is. It just clicked because I'm not a tea drinker, but my son sort of said, Mom, you should try this guy. Okay, so there we go. So back to my gorgeous little face. There we go, guys. So there you go, Davidson Teas. I will put the link again in the description. You can click on it and do your shopping. If you're a tea drinker, you're going to be sitting with a cup of tea and not a cup of coffee this time. Enjoy it. Now, they just had the mystery tea package, which reminded me, the last time I was in Indigo, it becomes a Christmas present where I take one of my kids down to Indigo. And fortunately, the employees there are used to me doing this. They've been around for a while. And I just went around the store, and my kids are allowed to spend my money. They do have a limit. And they just love it. And then we go for coffee. But one of the things that Indigo has is a wall, and they have various books just wrapped. They're mystery books. You have no idea what you're buying. It's to introduce you to different readers. On the front, it will say teen and youth, or kid and youth, or just youth, or it might say mystery. But it lets you try a book without judging the book by its cover. Right? So that's one of those, if you're into reading, that might be an idea, is just go to your local Indigo and see if they've got their mystery shelf. Now, having said that, while I haven't put it on here because it's a major corporation, like it's not a little thing like David's Cheese. If you go on, you can have anything from Indigo shipped right to you. So that's just, you don't have to go to the store. It's just nice to walk around the bookstore. Okay, so there you go. David's Teas, the business of the week. I hope you enjoy it. If you're a tea drinker, it will ship it right to you. I have seen tea bags, and there's obviously loose tea and all this paraphernalia that goes with a cup of tea. And B, just because he's put a pause on the tariffs, don't think this is going to suddenly solve everything. It's going to become good again, because you can already see the Dow. I just used the Dow. Is starting to come back down. It went up because, yes, he's going to put a pause on it, but the brokers and the investors are all going, yeah, for how long? Because we know he's like, and we're not even 100 days yet, right? He has screamed and saying, oh, yes, the 75, 90 countries are coming to us to make a deal and blah, blah, blah. And yet, when you look in it, there's not that many. And a lot of them are people like the UK or Canada that's come over and said, what do you think you're doing? They're not looking to make big deals. And he's gone, well, Zimbabwe, it was one country. And what was the deal? Like, what does Zimbabwe ship that's of major importance into the US? Sorry for people from Zimbabwe, that came across wrong. But they're not a major producer of electronics or car parts or whatever, right? So, and it's just, this is going to be 4 years of going like this. And people are already going, I've already said there's a depression coming. Other people are coming, yeah. The recession is probably here already. They say it's now into a bear market. So that's that, and that's that. And then please have sympathy for these these young people who are going, we don't want to work. It's not that they don't want to work. They're just tired of getting paid crap shit paycheck as they're trying to get themselves through school to get to a career they want. And they're expected to work god awful hours. And like my kid does 30, 35 hours a week, and he'll get called all the time. Can you come in? Well, fortunately, because we do have 3 drivers with 2 cars. He's going, I'm sorry, the car's gone. And the car is like, his dad's taking his dad's car. And so it's only my car, and I need my car for my students at night, right? So please have sympathy for these poor kids, or anybody who's caught in those, because I've been walking into more and more stores, and I'm finding older people, some of them who look a whole lot older than I am, at least they look older than I am, working in retail just to make ends meet. Anyways, there you go, guys. I hope everybody's having a really good day. Count to 10, and we'll see you next time with a surprise. Take care.